Hi, in this video we are going to be looking at the concentration of solutions. So before we begin, we probably should start to understand what exactly is concentration of solutions. Concentration refers to how much of something there is in a fluid. So how much of something there is in a fluid. Now, what do we mean by something? Something would be known as a thing called a solute. And generally, the fluid will more often than not be water. So how much of a solute there is in water? So what is a solute? A solute is, frankly, anything that is dissolved. And it would be anything that's dissolved in water. So in our demonstration of how to determine the concentration or the amount of something dissolved in water, we're going to be using salt. So in our example, we're going to be looking at salt. Salt in H2O, water. So to do this, we need to know a couple things. How do we first calculate it? Well, if we're looking at how much of this, or I should say in this case, this is in this, we should be thinking, okay, we're going to be looking at getting some kind of number. The way that it's measured is the amount of this, or it could be the solute, which could be anything. Sometimes it's going to be salt, which is in our bodies. Sometimes it's going to be sugar like glucose, which is in our bodies. It could even be a gas like carbon dioxide. We have carbon dioxide and oxygen in our blood. In this case, blood would maybe be the fluid, and CO2 or oxygen would be the solute. So in this case, since we're using a solid, we will measure that in grams, which is G. And the fluid is usually measured in liters, although sometimes you might see it measured in milliliters or something like that. So how this is expressed is actually as a fraction. It is the amount of solute in grams divided by the amount of water in liters. Now will give us an answer. So let's look at a couple examples of this. I have my cup, and I'm going to pour a liter of water into that cup. Right now, what is the concentration of that water? Let's think about it. We have no grams of solute. We have 1 liter of water. So what's 0 divided by 1? Concentration of nothing, right? Okay, well, let's change that. How can we change the concentration of a solution? Well, we can add some things to it, like a gram of salt. So I'll pour a gram of salt in. I can give that a little stir to dissolve it. Now what I've done is I've changed this number. I've changed the concentration because I've changed this number. So my new concentration would be 1 gram of salt in 1 liter of water for a concentration of 1. Again, I can make this number change. Let's make that number go up again. Let's add another gram of salt. Again, give it a little stir, make sure we dissolve it. And let's find our new value. Pretty simple. 2 grams, still 1 liter, concentration is 2. Now if I were to sip this water, and it had a concentration of 1, and if I were to sip this water and it had a concentration of 2, which one would taste more salty? Well, this one would taste more salty, obviously, because there's more salt in it. Same thing could be said between these two. If I tasted water with a concentration of 0 or salt water with a concentration of 1, this one's going to taste more salty because there's more salt. The salt molecules, as we increase our concentration, the salt gets closer and closer and closer, meaning it's easier and easier to get to because there's more and more of it. Pretty logical. How can I make this number change again? Well, we've been looking at adding solutes, but we can also make this number go down. To do that, we have to change this number down here. So if I add in another liter of water, now my concentration is no longer 2 because there's no longer 2 liters of water. There's still 2 grams of salt, but now there's 2 liters of water. So my concentration has decreased back to 1. Now this water, because it's down here and I've added that, it's going to taste less salty as we decrease our concentration. Now, since there is salt in this, I will never be able to get this all the way down to 0. But I can continue adding water and water and water, getting it closer and closer to that number. But it never will actually be 0 because this number up here, it's not 0. So this is an overview of concentration. Again, it's how much of something there is in a fluid, and the thing in the fluid is called a solute. In our example, we looked at salt.